All right, what is going on, everybody? This is going to be a different type of formatted video. I'm going to try and highlight different subjects, react to them, and see where and how we can fix, adjust, and just give my commentary on what I think about these certain situations, and going forward, how we can, analyze the system, what we can do, and what kind of obstacles that we're going to be facing in the future. And I'm going to focus on New York today, and then we may start going into further reactions to different cities, different places, and just different news that's happening around us. Because if we do not understand the knowledge, and if we do not gain the knowledge to expel the fear that can be presented to us, then we will always be left behind. So let's start the video with what's going on in New York, what recently happened in the No Kings protests, and then we'll go from there. If you guys enjoy the video, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's get into it. Welcome to Glitch Philosophy. So the first video that we're going to be talking about is going to be the one regarding the No Kings protest. I'm going to give my opinion on what I think about this protest, and then we'll go from there.
One of the biggest roadblocks in Washington right now, funding for immigration and custom enforcement.
And the debate isn't just happening on Capitol Hill. It's sparking protests nationwide, a new sticking point in the No Kings movement we've been seeing across the country, with millions participating. And John Diaz joins us live from Columbus Circle, where one of those protests is set to start a little bit later on this morning. John?
Yeah, good morning, both of you. And what's happening in Washington, D.C. is very much playing out here in the streets of New York City. It has been and will later on today. That energy we are expecting to start to build out here at Columbus Circle in just a few hours from now, all part of a larger wave of demonstrations going on across the country today. This will be the third No Kings protest held in New York City. As we mentioned, starting at 2 p.m., protesters from across the tri-state area are expected to gather here before marching through several blocks. Now, they plan on protesting President Donald Trump and also immigration and custom enforcement, saying that the president is using it as weapons. Now, ICE.
When I'm thinking about immigration and customs enforcement, I immediately have to think that when you walk around New York City and just the surrounding areas, you start to really notice that immigration is clearly very present. It's not like there aren't plenty of immigrants already in New York City. And we're going to have to start realizing that New York City cannot withstand more people. Like, that's the point that we're not fully grasping when you're going to these No Kings rallies. There's so many people already in New York. It's getting flooded to the point where they can't even maintain it, and there's going to be more and more people on the streets. I already said in my previous video, there's over 125,000 people that are living on the streets daily in New York City. How are we asking for more people to come to the city? It is going to create more stress on the economy, more stress on the people, more mouths to feed, and it makes it a lot harder to actually maintain the city and keeping people off the streets. And then we still got to keep in mind that there is a declining police force. Like, what are we really doing here?
Is the largest investigative arm and primary law enforcement agency under the Department of Homeland Security, and with the House of Republicans planning to extend that funding for the entire department at current levels for 60 more days.
And honestly, in my opinion, the fact that ICE is at airports right now is actually very funny to me, because at the end of the day, these policies are, or this holdup in Congress is causing for you guys to put more ICE agents in places that you wouldn't want for immigration, right? A lot of these people that are trying to immigrate into the country are going to be coming from the airports, from the border. But when you limit the enforcement, or now you're increasing the enforcement in there because there's nobody else that's going to work, because TSA is not staying in those positions anymore because they're not getting paid due to this government shutdown. You end up in this position to where now ICE agents are in there. How did that help you? How is that benefiting your cause to get more immigrants into the country when now you're forced to have ICE agents in the actual airport? Like, what's going on here, guys? Come on.
That will no doubt be one of the issues fueling today's protest. Now, organizers saying that this rally is a, quote, nationwide mobilization to defend democracy and reject authoritarian governance. Now, there will be plenty of other smaller protests as well as large protests, though, happening across the country today and in the tri-state area. Not just this one that will be going on in Columbus Circle, but all of it part of the same movement, this No Kings movement.
And like I saw in another video that there were other cities that were doing the No Kings protest. I know it was in Washington, I think Chicago, California, and I think I saw Georgia as well. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, all of those cities are doing this No Kings protest, but when you look at the current situation of these cities, how are you guys continuing to allow immigrants to come in? Like all of them are dealing with either homelessness crisis, a crime crisis, and a lack of a police force. So how are you adding more people to this situation? It's like literally dumping gasoline on a fire. What are we really gaining out of this, and who is really gaining out of adding more immigrants into the country? And those that are protesting, in my opinion, I do not believe are seeing the consequences. And if they are seeing the consequences, they're just being oblivious to it to push their service minded agenda to say that, oh yeah, we're here to serve the community and protest because they want to be part of some kind of movement. But at the end of the day, it hurts all the other citizens in the country because now you're going to have to raise taxes in order to fund for these programs, in order to help these people move around in the city. And we already have a homelessness crisis. We already have a declining police force. And there's crime all over the city. So why are we adding fuel to this fire? It makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. But listen, New York's always gonna be New York, man. You know, we're always gonna try and do the absolute most, which, whew, man, we're starting to get real ugly, real fast. But let's transition into the next news topic, and we'll go from there. So now we're gonna transition into how these people are coming into these countries and what opportunities they're really being presented in the community. Now, this is the news talking about how many bike lanes and additional bike lanes are actually coming into the New York City and how it's affecting traffic movement and the fluidity of the city. So let's get into it.
And they moved to blue cities all across the country. And now all of those cities are changing slowly into third world cities themselves. And it's been happening for the last several years, subtly, so subtly that you might not even realize that it's going on. In New York City and cities all over the country, we now have bike lanes on the streets and city bikes set up all over different cities. Bike lanes taking up lanes that were meant for cars and trucks. This is going to be great, Democrats told us for years. Bikes that people will use to bike to work and then bike to play and then bike from their apartment to get a coffee and then to the office and then they'll go home. It'll cut down on traffic and it's good for the environment. That's what they told us. But of course, none of that ever happened. And what is happening in New York City is the exact opposite, actually. Bike lanes in New York have been co-opted by illegal immigrants, many of them not here legally, and they ride all over the city in any direction they want, with no regard for traffic signals or traffic lights, delivering food, delivering drugs, delivering whatever they can fit on their bike day and night. In fact, on most streets, just to cross to the other side of the street, you have to pass by multiple bike lanes, lanes that were meant for cars and trucks, just to get to the other side of the street, like.
So I'm not gonna lie, when you're walking in New York City, you everyone knows you have to keep your head on a swivel regardless of what's happening. But now when you're crossing the street in New York City, you have to now keep in mind of one, people that are probably double parked. And not only that are people that are double parked, you have to now try and look over the person that's double parked in the street. And then you have to watch as the bike decides to fly past your face and it's a red light and I'm supposed to be walking, bike just goes phew, and you're like, oh my god, That man just took the hair off my nostrils. Like, I'm trying to walk peacefully in New York City. You got to worry about the bikes, and then now we're talking about how many bikes are all over the city now. It's starting to look absolutely crazy. It's starting to look crazy. Like, bikes are all over the place. And don't get me wrong, riding a bike in the city makes sense because, there it's a very connected, well grid-like system that you can generally get from one place to another pretty easily on a bike. But when we're catering to the bikes in the city, then it's going to start becoming a problem because it's just going to be a whole bunch of people riding bikes. Like, when have you ever seen someone either on a motorcycle or on a bike that has been, the most law-abiding person on a bike? Like, let's be for real. If you're on a bike, you're gonna be doing some very, we're gonna be swimming through traffic. That's the idea. Okay? So let's hear what else he has to say about it.
This was today here in New York City. So just across the street, bike lane right here. Parking. 3 lanes of traffic for cars and trucks and anything else in New York City. And then another bus lane, which bikes go down, and then more parking. Before Democrats, this was all for cars and trucks. Now it's for everything else. You think that might have something to do with the congestion? By the way, I had the light, and it was dangerous, and that's middle of the day. Okay, this is going to be fun, Democrats told us. It's not fun. And parts of New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Boston, now look like downtown Mogadishu. They now look like third world cities. Maybe you've seen them in movies, in documentaries. You know what I'm talking about. Rickshaws all over the place, vendors in the streets, disorder, crime, violence. New York City, literally right outside where I am sitting right now, looks more like Mogadishu or Bangladesh than it does the most important city in the world. It looks more like this.
Let's not act like we don't be seeing those little carriages all the time. All the time. Wherever you look in New York City, there's one of them Johns riding around. Doesn't matter what part of New York City, one of them is in the area to try and finesse a tourist or something, because, bro, it's getting crazy.
That was Dhaka, the largest city in Bangladesh and one of the largest Muslim cities in the world. And that is everyday life right there in the third world. And if you've been to New York City recently, you know what I'm talking about. Okay,
One thing I'm gonna say though is those roads actually look mad nice. Have y'all seen the potholes in New York City right now? Shoot. That thing will blow your whole axle, gone. Undercarriage of your car, gone. Like, that actually look nice and smooth. No wonder the bikes is just chilling on that. What? You gotta be like a BMX rider to be riding in New York City right now with all the potholes. Shoot. At least their roads are nice. Jeez.
have seen it with your own eyes. But this is all being done by design. Zohran Mamdani is the city's first ever Muslim mayor, and Zohran grew up in Uganda, which is in Africa. He even did an internship in the Ugandan capital city of Kampala in 2007. And here's an example of what the streets in downtown Kampala look like today.
That's definitely New York right now.
So that
maybe a
is
little
the
less, but
capital
like,
of Uganda, and that is the most important city in that country. Have a look. And if you think that cannot happen here, come to New York City because it is already happening. Just this week, Zohran Mamdani proposed lowering the speed limit across one of the largest geographical cities in the country to just 20 miles an hour. In some areas, it's going to be even lower, 15 miles an hour. And if you're asking why any mayor would want to do something like that, he is doing it to speed up New York City's descent into
15 miles an hour? Are you kidding me? If you have a car in New York City, throw it away. Throw it away. In the garbage. You know how many tickets you about to rack up for 15 miles an hour speed limit? Yeah. This man is trying to slice you up with 1,000 paper cuts, man, because this is insane. 15 miles an hour, 25 was pushing it. 25 was pushing it. And now we're talking about 15 miles an hour? Bro. It's over, bro. New York City is about to go downhill, man. Everybody's about to run. It's about to be just run, Forrest, run. I'm out of here. Because the amount of things that they're trying to fine you and tax you on so that they can recoup on some of this money. If y'all don't see this play by now, it's really it's getting scary, man. It's starting to get scary.
And we asked some of these bikers who were out there today about where they were from. None of them were Midtown office workers out for a coffee. They were almost all immigrants from third world countries.
Where are you from?
Guatemala, West Africa.
Where are you from?
Mexico.
I'm from Guatemala.
I'm from Africa.
Senegal.
Where are you from?
Ah, de Guatemala. I'm from Africa.
Guatemala, West Africa.
West Africa. And do you primarily use your bike for deliveries?
Yes.
Guatemala.
Information. Truth.
Listen, they working, they doing what they got to do, but these bikes are about to take over, man. It's about to get scary. These bikes are really getting crazy out here. And I've driven in New York City, and trust and believe, I was driving through all 5 boroughs, and those bikes are everywhere, man. It's everywhere, and it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy, but let's switch gears. Let's talk about this police force because, as I said, more people coming in, more crime happening, and a declining police force. So let's see how this police force is looking right now in New York. So let's get into this.
The Mount Vernon Police Department now under arrest, accused of conspiring to share illegal weapons with alleged gang members on Long Island.
News 4's Chris Jose is live in Mount.
Long Island, y'all thought that y'all was safe? Y'all thought y'all were safe? You think stuff that don't happens in New York, New York City is not going to affect y'all? You'll see. You'll see. You'll see.
Vernon now with the details for us. Chris?
Adam and Gilma, Mount Vernon Police Detective Kyron Bronskill is one of 18 people named in a 57-count indictment. As you just mentioned, he's accused of conspiring with alleged gang members to sell illegal firearms. This picture right here from the Mount Vernon Police Department was taken when he was named Officer of the Month back in September 2024. Now he's on the other side of the law.
Brother, what are we doing? What are we doing? Come on now. Are we serious?
His status with the department unclear tonight. We have reached out to the city of Mount Vernon for comment, but we have not heard back yet. The Suffolk County District Attorney's Office released a series of videos today showing members of the Riverhead-based 48 gang robbing multiple businesses. One video from September 23rd, 2024 shows a struggle between a deli clerk and a man armed with a gun. During the violent encounter, the alleged gang member, identified by prosecutors as Demarion Weston, pistol whipped the clerk repeatedly. Prosecutors say Weston and 2 other gang members stole $6,000 cash. The robberies on video just some of the violent crimes the gang is allegedly responsible for in Suffolk County.
That is the weakest thing I've ever seen in my life, bro. You're pistol whipping a woman. Y'all really gotta be down bad out in these streets. And you're gonna keep letting these officials just do what they want, man? Like, come on. Now you want to defund our police force because this is what's happening. This is what's happening, guys. We're just allowing for gang members to receive gums from police detectives now. Like what is happening? We're turning straight into Gotham City. Where's Batman at? Do I gotta put a mask on and be like, yo, I'm Batman? Like, cause what's happening? This is crazy.
County. Prosecutors say this was a multi-year investigation which connected the 48 gang to 2 murders, 8 armed robberies, 5 additional shootings, and the possession of 13 illegal weapons. The DA revealing more details about the Mount Vernon detective who allegedly shared illegal guns.
And those Jones look like they got switches on them. Like they look like mini Uzis. They look like they got some real firepower on these Jones. Like these are like no joke pistols.
With the gang.
I just want to stress that this conduct is not alleged to have taken place while Bronskill was a Mount Vernon police officer, but rather we allege that in the years prior to him becoming a police officer, Bronskill was actively selling, sharing, and coordinating possession of weapons with high-ranking gang members in Riverhead, New York.
Time out. You're telling me that there's corporate AI that can find out if I was at like a function or something and I was going crazy, and they can find out through AI if I was the alleged person and not hire me for that position. But the police force can't figure out that this man was affiliated with particular gang members in his community. We're not doing background checks, team. What are we doing here? There's enough technology to find out this information, guys. Like I thought there was supposed to be some real standards for the police force. Like how are we letting potential criminals into our police force? There's no way that his Instagram did not show any kind of gang affiliation or people that were affiliated within gangs at all on his social media account. Like, come on, guys. Let's be a little honest here. Let's be honest. You're just taking anybody. I guess that's what happens when your police force is declining, but
It is alleged that this conduct continued up until the same month of his appointment as a police officer in Mount Vernon on December of 2022.
until he became a cop.
Again, in all, 18 people are named in this 57-count indictment, including Mount Vernon Police Detective Kyron Bronskill. He's due back in court next month. We're live in Mount Vernon tonight. Chris Jose, News 4 New York.
A detective with the Mount Vernon.
Listen, guys, New York, we gotta lock in, guys. We gotta lock in because this is starting to get insane. And these are why we can't add more people to the fire. We cannot keep fueling this madness. Like our police force is starting to accept anybody. Like what kind of background check and vetting is this? Like he was shown to do it. You just now find out that he was shown to be affiliated with these gangs. You just now found that out. You're telling me he had no evidence of that on his Instagram at all for you to just now be finding that out? Like, come on, guys. Like, where is the standards at? How are we holding people accountable if we're not even vetting them properly for serious positions? What are we doing? But as I said, New York's going to be struck with 1,000 cuts. Death by 1,000 cuts, because not only is it going to be what I've said before, but those taxes, you know, those taxes and those small little things that are going to start piling up. Watching what happens in this next segment.
A warning shot for New York City's new socialist mayor. Multiple credit agencies, including Fitch and Moody's, all sounding the alarm on Mamdani's $127 billion budget. Not a downgrade, not quite yet, but a very clear warning. Keep going down this road, and it's a-coming. His budget calls for raiding the city's rainy day fund and other savings over the next 2 years to pay for billions in new spending. So, Taylor, tell me about the bond aspect of this for people who don't quite understand what it means for a city's bond rating to potentially be downgraded. How is that bad news for people who...
Before she gets into that, Bonds are the ability for investors to invest in government operations, and then those are the things that will be then used to potentially be used for either loans or things that you would do for, either your house, your car, things of that nature, so that, you would base your ability or the abilities of the bonds to hold on the actual government, and then your ability to pay on those bonds. So if investors start to, or if bonds start to lose their value, then investors cannot continue to support the government, and the government now has to test to see whether or not your credit is worth um, the loan that you're actually achieving. So just a breakdown.
Either bonds or people who live in a big city like New York.
So it's a never-ending cycle, right? Because if your bond if you get a downgrade, the bond rating goes down, then in theory, the cost of borrowing goes up, because I'm looking at you, and instead of having an 800 credit score, you now have a 7 or a 6 or a 500 credit score. So I'm going to say, you know what? I'm not going to lend you money at 2 or 3%. I'll lend you money, but you have to pay me 4 or 5 or 6% interest, because I'm not confident that you're going to pay me back in full. Effectively, that's sort of what's happening here, is they're thinking about doing a downgrade. And this is now the third in 10 days. I mean, this is shocking. So the interesting thing, Brian has tried to jump me in my pop quizzes. So I come with the pop quiz.
Oh. The answer will probably be on the screen. Just watch.
What's fascinating is much of the city's financial pressures that you talked about are due to rising costs, from, I don't know, education to housing vouchers. What do you think the city PHEPS is?
FEPS.
Yeah.
Public housing.
Yes, you're close. It's the City Fighting Homelessness and Eviction Prevention Supplement. Fine, I don't care, whatever, that's New York City. Here's the problem. That program is growing at 4% a month.
Wow.
Didn't I say there was 125,000 people sleeping on New York City floors every night? Yet the program that's supposed to be helping these homeless people are getting a 4% increase each month. Each month, not each year, each month. Vicious.
Not a year, a month. Their projected total cost in the coming fiscal year, $2.6 billion. That's just one agency I happen to pluck out of thin air.
They're not even fighting homelessness. They're leaving them on the street.
That's the problem.
So it's growing at 4%.
They're not only not fighting homelessness, we are paying per unhoused person $81,000 a year in New York. And so a lot of people ask that question, well, does that go right to the homeless people? Like, that'd be a pretty sweet gig if a social worker just came up to you and gave you a check for 81 grand. But that is not the case, is it, Jackie?
It is not the case. And he's just determined to drive this city into the ground. I mean, the bond aspect of this and the riskiness is a warning sign for everybody. But, you know, I was texting with someone yesterday who did not vote for Mamdani, but was, you know, just going on and on about, like, woe is us living in the city. And I said, this is what he told you he was going to do. At least I can't sit here and say it was a bait and switch. He fooled us.
The fact, he did tell you he was going to try and get you that, you know, free buses, free all that, you know, tax the rich, all this good stuff. I said that in the previous video. I said it. But that comes with consequences. In order to get free things, there's nothing free. There's nothing free in this world. There's always something behind it. Whether it's going to be your time, you're going to pay for it either in your time, your money, or in other ways that you didn't see coming. So these are the consequences. These are the things that's going to start hitting your account little by little as time goes on, as he stays in office. And if we do not decide to make a change and worry about too many of these social policies rather than the fiscal, you know, a situation that's going on, then New York will continue to downgrade. New York will continue to have potholes that will blow your tires out. New York will continue to have a rising population, and not only crime, but immigrants that will completely flood New York City. and then it will continue to have a declining police force, and the standards for the police force will continue to decline as well, because now they're going to try and supplement the police force with anyone that they can get, and there's going to be more internal crime. There's going to be more places where criminals are going to start working with police, because the standards are going to get lowered, because there's no way you're going to keep up as a police force with the amount of people coming into New York, with the crime rate that's going to keep probably escalating as time goes on. There's no way you're going to be able to keep up with it with a certain standard. You're going to have to lower the standard. So now New York is on the verge of collapsing not only its infrastructure, because as you can see, a lot of the things such as trash, as I said, the potholes after the storm has not been maintained. And then they're going to continue to basically cut you with 1,000 cuts, whether it's lowering the speed limit or causing additional fines in order for them to pay for the budget to actually keep the city running. Like, these are the things that you have to see start stacking up on top of each other, that's going to cause the city to burn to the ground. Like, listen, I've lived in New York my whole life. Like, and I've just seen a constant decline in what New York City once was. And it's really starting to be sad to see. It really is. It's really a sad and unfortunate situation. Listen, guys, New York is in a very interesting spot right now. And when you start to look at what happened in other cities that were in a very similar position, you start to see the trajectory. You start to see where things are going to start heading unless there becomes a change. Because if New York does not start changing its attitude, if New York does not start, we're going to have to hold out until Mamdani gets, taken out of office. But at this point, we're really going to be in a position where New York is going to struggle, and it's going to leak out to other parts of New York. Don't think it's just isolated to New York City. It's going to start to leak out in Long Island, in the upper parts of New York. So don't just start thinking that it's just going to be New York. New York City is the financial capital for a reason. Okay, it is the hub of New York. That's where a lot of the money comes from. So without maintaining that area, we're going to be in a very sticky situation. But I'm going to close with that. Let me know what you guys think about the content. Let me know your opinions on how you feel about, the new legislation, immigration policies, as well as, our police force, because right now it's getting scary. But as always, guys, like, subscribe, comment, and stay glitched. Out.